Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make chicken and waffles. So to begin, we're going to start by preparing the marinade for the chicken. And to do this, we're going to first take out about a half liter of buttermilk into a mixing bowl, to which we're going to add a tablespoon of paprika, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and 2 generous pinches of salt. We're not going to go and work on our chicken. You could easily buy chicken breast, chicken thighs, whichever we prefer, but I prefer to get a whole chicken, and I'm going to lift up the breast and the legs, and then I'm going to keep the carcass and all of the trimmings for doing a stock in next week's episode. So we're now going to portion out our chicken. To do this, we're going to start by skinning the chicken breasts and then portioning them out. I like to portion it into 3 pieces, so I'm going to remove the smaller muscles. If you flip your breast over, you're going to see it just is super easy to remove. And then the bigger muscle, we're just going to split down the middle, the lengthwise, and we're going to set them aside. For the legs, we're going to cut them in half, and then we're going to remove the bone. To do this, it's a bit harder the first couple times you do it, but once you get used to it, it becomes a lot easier. You just cut the length of the bone, and then you can wiggle the bone out using your knife a little bit, and it's pretty easy once you get used to it. Now we're just going to take our chicken and put it aside into a Tupperware, which we're then going to cover with our buttermilk marinade. We have to remember that this is an acid-based marinade, which means that it's going to tenderize the chicken over a certain amount of time. But if we leave it for too long, it's going to lead to the meat being kind of tough. So we're going to want to leave it in the fridge for 4 to 6 hours. More than that is going to lead to tougher meat. As for the carcass and the chicken wings, I'm just going to put them in Ziploc bags and into my freezer, and I'm going to use them some other time. Now, onto the waffles. What we're going to do is, in a large mixing bowl, we're going to crack 3 eggs, which we're going to whisk roughly, and into which we're going to add 350 grams of milk, as well as 100 grams of oil or melted butter. We're going to whisk all of that together, and then finally we're going to add, I did in 2 additions here, 225 grams of flour, 10 grams of baking soda, 2 grams of salt, and 15 grams of sugar. Now remember, if you use melted butter, and if it were salted, do not add any more salt. now been about 5.5 hours, so I'm gonna take out the chicken from the fridge, and in a cake tin I've prepared some flour with all of the spices from the marinade from earlier. And I'm just gonna take the chicken out of the marinade and straight into this flour tin. And I'm just going to cover them, put them aside on a tray, and then we're gonna move over to the stove to deep fry them. We're now going to drop the chickens into the oil. You want to have the oil preheated to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Here, I didn't have a thermometer, so I kind of eyeballed it. A good way to do this is if you have any tools that are raw wood, that means they're not coated by any sort of varnish, you can just dip them into the oil, and if it starts bubbling, you're going to know that your oil is well above 100 degrees Celsius, as all the moisture from inside the wood starts to evaporate. We're going to drop our chicken in for 8 minutes. While this is happening, we're also going to start doing our waffles. So I'm just going to add about a half a cup of waffle batter into a waffle iron, close it, and let it cook all the way through. If you want to know, you can just open your waffle iron. If it doesn't look ready, close it, let it cook for a couple more minutes. So we're finally ready to plate. We're just gonna take our waffle, put it in the plate, put some chicken on top, and we're gonna drizzle some maple syrup on top. Also, off camera, I decided to put some Frank's hot sauce on top of it, and I just ate it kind of like a taco. I folded the waffle in half and I just took some bites in. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing down below, and leave a comment if you want me to do anything in the future.